All right, as we wrap up this Friday edition of PFT Live, let me say this first before we get to the Brian Flores developments. We have some great mailbag questions. I apologize I haven't gotten to them. We are going to push them all to PFT PM because I want to talk about what happened on Thursday afternoon in the Flores case. The NFL has yet to file its official response to the amended complaint that was submitted a couple of weeks ago by Flores, Ray Horton, and Steve Wilkes, with more teams added, with now the total list is the Texans, the Broncos, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Titans, along with the NFL at large. What the NFL plans to do, and this came up in a document that was put together by the parties to help the judge understand how the scheduling of the case is going to go, et cetera, et cetera. It came up in there over and over again that the NFL intends to file a motion to compel arbitration of the entire controversy. And you've heard us talk about mandatory arbitration in NFL contracts a time or two. The Flores lawyers knew this was coming. Brian Flores has been involved recently in events aimed at expanding prohibitions under federal law to mandatory arbitration. There's already a law that prohibits it for cases involving sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, etc. at work. Flores part of an effort to have race discrimination cases included within that, because here's how it goes. And I lived in this world for 18 years. I was on both sides of it. What happens is when a large company gets sued in court, job number one is try to figure out how to get out of court. Big company does not want 6 average people, and yes, for civil cases, it's typically 6 on a jury, not 12. The big company doesn't want 6 average people holding the company accountable for how it treats individual employees, because those 6 individuals are far more likely to identify with the person who claims that his or her rights were violated at work. So, employers have found a way to try to finagle arbitration clauses into handbooks, contracts, policies, anywhere, so that if an employee has a lawsuit that is ever being contemplated, that claim is more properly brought in arbitration. That's what exactly the NFL has baked into individual contracts, constitution, and bylaws. John Gruden's currently going through it with his lawsuit against the NFL, and now Flores, Horton, and Wilkes will be going through it. Here's what you got to keep in mind here. Most employers, when they try to use private arbitration to avoid giving an individual employee his or her day in court, there's a truly independent arbitration process. It's still set up for the employer to get a better outcome than they would in court, because again, you're not facing a jury of 6 average people who may get confused by the law and just decide to Robin Hood it and take from the rich and give to the poor, relatively speaking. That happens. But in this specific context with the NFL, it's not just referring the matter to the American Arbitration Association for a process that results in the two sides figuring out who the best arbitrator would be. This is a system where the NFL says, we'll handle this. The commissioner, or whoever the commissioner designates, will be the one to decide whether or not the employee's rights were violated in some way. That creates what I have called a secret, rigged kangaroo court. Secret because it gets taken out of the court system. The media is not able to monitor it. The testimony doesn't happen in an open setting where owners may be grilled and forced to admit to things they don't want to admit. It all happens behind closed doors. It's rigged because it's the commissioner or his designee. The person who is ultimately paid by all teams, hired by all teams, kept or not kept by all teams, is making these decisions. How is that not rigged in favor of the NFL and its teams? And it is a kangaroo court because it's not a real court. The rules of evidence don't apply. The rules of discovery don't apply. There may be information that is highly pertinent to whether or not discrimination occurred, to what was actually going on. It's going to be easier to get that in court than it's going to be to get it from a process that's presided over by the commissioner. So, secret rigged kangaroo court is what the NFL is trying to push the Flores case into. We'll be following it very carefully and hoping that others understand what the NFL is trying to do here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.